The American dream is currently being split in two right before our eyes. While luxury boutiques see record lines, the local grocery store goes quiet. A silent divide is tearing through the fabric of the United States economy. To understand where your money is going, you must see the invisible line. A recent study from the New York Fed has just confirmed our worst fears. The way Americans spend money has shifted into a dangerous new gear. It is no longer about a rising tide lifting all the boats in the harbor. Today, the yachts are soaring while the rafts are taking on water. This is the story of the K-shaped recovery, a term economists whisper in halls. One arm of the K reaches for the stars, fueled by assets and rising stocks. The other arm slides downward, weighted by debt and the cost of daily life. The gap between these two worlds has never felt more like a physical wall. Imagine two neighbors living on the very same street in a quiet suburb. One watches their investment portfolio hit new highs every single week. The other checks their bank balance before deciding if they can buy eggs. This isn't a script for a movie. It is the data showing our current reality. The wealthiest Americans are spending at levels we have never seen before. For them, the post-pandemic world is a playground of endless consumption. Luxury travel, high-end electronics, and premium services are booming. Their spending is keeping the top-line GDP numbers looking healthy and bright. But look, beneath the surface, and the narrative starts to crumble quickly. The middle class and lower income families are pulling back in survival mode. For the bottom 60%, every dollar is a battle against the shadow of inflation. The discretionary spending that drives growth is becoming a luxury of the few. Why is this happening now? And why does it feel so different this time? The answer lies in the massive divergence of wealth and asset ownership. The top tier owns the homes, the stocks, and the businesses that profit. When prices go up, they own the things that are becoming more expensive. For the rest of America, rising prices are not a gain, but a relentless tax. Rent, insurance, and groceries consume a larger slice of the paycheck every month. The cushion of savings built during the lockdowns has finally hit zero. Credit card debt is climbing to record heights just to keep the lights on. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York pointed to a startling, clear fact. The spending gap between the top 10% and the rest is widening into a canyon. This isn't just about who buys a Rolex and who buys a Timex anymore. It is about who can afford to participate in the American economy at all. When the wealthy spend more, it creates a false sense of national prosperity. Policymakers look at the total numbers and see an economy that is robust. They see high spending and decide that interest rates must stay elevated. But those high rates are the very thing crushing the family trying to buy a car. This is the consumption trap that is currently catching millions of citizens. The spending of the rich keeps the heat on, forcing the Fed to be tough. The toughness of the Fed makes debt more expensive for the working class. The rich stay rich, while the middle class pays the price for the party. Think of the economy like a massive engine that requires all parts to move. If only the pistons at the top are firing, the engine will eventually seize. Small businesses depend on the spending power of the average American. If the local community can't afford a shop, the local economy begins to die. We are seeing a shift in how corporations market their products to us. Brands are abandoning the middle to focus on the high-end prestige buyer. The value stores are struggling while the ultra-luxury brands report records. The middle ground of American commerce is being hollowed out completely. This divide has massive implications for the future of the American soul. When a large portion of the population feels locked out, frustration grows. It changes how people vote, how they work, and how they view their neighbors. Economic inequality isn't just a number. It is a source of social friction. The New York Fed's data shows that this trend is accelerating, not slowing. Wealthy households are sitting on a mountain of home equity and gains. They feel the wealth effect, making them feel safe to spend even more. Meanwhile, the renter feels the poverty effect as their costs skyrocket. We are witnessing the birth of a two-tiered society in real time. One tier views a $100 dinner as a casual Tuesday night out with friends. The other tier sees that same $100 as 4 days of groceries for a family. These two groups are increasingly living in entirely different economic states. The stock market has become a poor indicator of the average person's health. The S&P 500 can go up while the local food bank sees its longest lines ever. The disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street is now a total rupture. We must stop looking at the averages to understand the true story of wealth. If the bottom half of the K continues to slide, the system becomes unstable. A consumer-based economy cannot survive on the spending of the 10% alone. The velocity of money slows down when wealth is trapped at the very top. True growth requires a broad base of people with money left over to spend. Decision makers in Washington are facing a very difficult and narrow path. If they cut rates to help the struggling, they might fuel the fire for the rich. If they keep rates high, they might break the back of the American worker. There are no easy exits from a K-shaped recovery once it has taken hold. The cost of the American dream has outpaced the American median wage. A home, a college education, and a stable retirement are moving out of reach. This creates a sense of quiet desperation in the hearts of the workforce. They are working harder than ever, yet the finish line keeps moving away.
Have you ever stopped to think that the videos you just watched with flawless scripts and engaging narrations might have been created by someone who never even touched a camera or a microphone? There is a new digital elite profiting heavily behind the scenes of YouTube and social media, building massive channels without ever showing their faces or spending thousands of dollars on equipment. While most people are frozen by the fear of being on camera, these individuals are using the hidden power of artificial intelligence to generate automated content that works and earns for them 24 hours a day. The secret to dominating this game isn't about having a famous face. It's about knowing how to command the right tools to create scripts, voices, and visuals that magnetically hold the audience's attention. Ivy gained access to a strategic method that reveals the exact roadmap for you to build your own invisible digital empire. Mastering AI to turn clicks into a real source of income, it is the perfect opportunity for those seeking financial and geographical freedom without having to deal with the pressure of being a public figure on the internet. Best of all, you can seize this opportunity right now for a symbolic price. The complete training is under an exclusive promotion, dropping from $97 to just $17. This is your passport to unlocking the knowledge you need to start your professional journey with AI today. Click the first link in the description to secure your spot while this discount is still active.
The study also highlights how debt is being used differently by each group. The wealthy use debt as a tool to buy assets and grow their net worth. The lower tiers use debt as a bridge to get from one Friday to the next. One type of debt builds a future. The other type of debt steals it away. As the wealthy drive up the prices of homes and services, others are priced out. Gentrification is moving from a city-level issue to a national-level crisis. Teachers, nurses, and police officers can no longer afford the towns they serve. The geographic divide is becoming just as sharp as the financial one. The psychological impact of this inequality cannot be overstated at all. Social media displays the top arm of the K-shaped recovery 24 hours a day. It creates a comparison trap that makes the middle class feel even poorer. The pressure to keep up is leading to a mental health crisis for many. We have to ask ourselves what kind of country we are building for tomorrow. Is it a place where the lottery of birth determines your ultimate destiny? Or is it still the land of opportunity where hard work guarantees a rise? The current data from the New York Fed suggests we are losing that path. The strength of America has always been its massive, stable middle class. That middle class acted as a buffer and a bridge for social mobility. With that bridge crumbling, the climb from bottom to top is getting steeper. The ladders of opportunity are being replaced by walls of accumulated wealth. This isn't about punishing the successful for their hard-earned gains. It is about realizing that a lopsided house eventually falls over in the wind. An economy that only works for a few is inherently fragile and temporary. Stability requires a balance that we haven't seen in nearly half a century. Look at the retail data from the last quarter to see the proof of this split. Discount chains are closing hundreds of stores across the rural landscape. High-end malls in wealthy enclaves are expanding and adding valet parking. The market is literally reshaping itself to serve only one arm of the K we are entering. A period of economic bifurcation, a total split in path. Your strategy for the next 5 years must account for this new reality. The old rules of just work hard and save are being challenged by the data. You need to understand which side of the K you are on and how to pivot. If you are on the downward arm, the focus must be on aggressive protection. Eliminating high-interest debt and building a skill-based moat is vital. If you are on the upward arm, the focus is on diversification and stewardship. The tide is changing, and the currents are becoming much more unpredictable. History shows us that extreme inequality often leads to major course changes. Whether through policy, crisis, or innovation, the balance tends to reset. The question is how painful that reset will be for the average American. The data from the Fed is our early warning system. It is time to listen. The spending habits of the elite are not a sign of a healthy nation. They are a sign of a concentrated wealth that isn't flowing back down. The trickle-down theory has been replaced by a soak-up reality. The numbers don't lie, even if the headlines try to paint a prettier picture. As we move toward the next election, this will be the central battleground. The kitchen table issues are now bank account survival strategies. People are feeling the pinch, even if the GDP says everything is fine. There is a profound difference between a good economy and a good life. The American consumer has long been the engine of the global world, but if that engine is only running on 2 cylinders, the world will slow. We are all connected in this complex web of trade and daily transactions. A hole in the boat is a problem for everyone, no matter where they sit. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York has given us the map of the divide. It shows a nation that is prospering at the top and struggling at the base. This K-shape is the defining characteristic of the 2020s economy. Understanding it is the only way to navigate the turbulent years ahead. We must look beyond the flashy lights of the stock market tickers. We must look at the reality of the families sitting around dinner tables. The strength of our future depends on closing the gap at the K. Prosperity must be something we can all reach, not just a lucky few. The era of easy growth and broad-based gains feels like a distant memory. Now, it is a game of chess where the pieces are not distributed equally. Knowledge of these trends is your only defense against being left behind. Stay informed, stay alert, and look at the data with wide open eyes. The story of the wealthy spending while the poor struggle is an old one, but in the modern American context, it has taken on a high-tech edge. Algorithms and credit systems are accelerating the divide faster than ever. The gap is moving from a crack in the floor to a canyon in the earth. Don't let the robust spending numbers fool you into a full security. Ask who is doing the spending and what they are buying to stay ahead. The economy is changing its shape, and it's doing it right under us. The K is a warning sign that we cannot afford to ignore any longer. We are at a turning point in the history of the American middle class. The decisions made in the next few years will echo for several generations. Will we mend the divide, or will the two arms of the K drift further apart? The answer will define the next century of life in the United States. It is time to have an honest conversation about wealth and consumption. It is time to look at the facts and prepare for a very different future. The data is clear, the trend is set, and the stakes are higher than ever. Your financial survival depends on seeing the truth behind the curtain. As the top 10% continues to pull away, the pressure on the rest increases. Inflation, debt, and interest rates are the hammers hitting the middle. But awareness is the first step toward building a new kind of resilience. You can't fix a problem that you refuse to acknowledge or understand. The New York Fed has pulled back the veil on the K-shaped mystery. It confirms what many of you have been feeling at the gas pump and store. The economy is working, but it isn't working for everyone in the room. This is the central challenge of our time, and we are in it together. The American dream shouldn't be a zero-sum game of winners and losers. It should be a path that is open to anyone with the will to walk it. But for now, that path is being blocked by a massive wall of inequality. We must find a way to tear down that wall and rebuild the bridge. So, do you feel the K-shaped recovery in your own city or daily life? Comment your opinion on this wealth divide below, and let's discuss it. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the real economy. Leave a like if you want more videos that tell the truth about your money.